Hi there, and welcome on this exact moment in time. Because, yes, this moment matters. You didn't end up here casually, you didn't just scroll into this video by chance, and you're not listening to this because you are bored. Something inside of you is paying attention, and attention is never random. It moves forward, friction, towards confusion, towards questions that haven't been answered yet. And the question that brought you here today is a very subtle one, not dramatic, but very persistent. Why does my life not fully match who I think I am? Or maybe, more accurately, why do I know what to do but don't do it consistently? Why do I understand myself intellectually but still repeat the same patterns? Why do my intentions sound clear but my results stay inconsistent? And that leads us to the real topic of this video, not motivation, not discipline, not mindset, but something much deeper. Identity alignment, or more precisely, congruence. I mentioned this in my video of yesterday, so I'll leave a link down in the description if you want to catch up on that. Congruence is one of those words people like to use, but rarely define. So let's strip it down. Congruence means that what you think, what you feel, what you say, and what you do are not fighting each other. It means there is no internal drag, no quiet self-betrayal, no background tension, no invisible resistance. You move clearly, you move cleanly. And when someone is congruent, you can feel that. They don't explain themselves excessively. They don't over-justify their behavior. They don't leak nervous energy. They act, they respond, they adjust, and life seems to respond differently to them. Not because they are special, but because they are coherent. And here's the very uncomfortable part. Most people not incongruent because they are confused. They are incongruent because they are split. Split between who they learned to be and who they sense they could be. They are split between survival identity and authentic identity. They are split between adaptation and truth. And that split has consequences because reality doesn't respond to potential, it responds to organization. And this is where things usually go wrong. Because most people think that identity is what they believe about themselves. I am a driven person, I am spiritual, I am a leader, I am sensitive. But identity is not what you say, identity is what you default to under pressure. What you do when you are tired, when you are triggered, when no one is watching. Now that is identity. And identity is not philosophical, it is behavioral and physiological. So why affirmations don't change identity? This is why affirmations fail for most people. Because affirmations talk to the mind, while identity lives in the nervous system. You can say, I am confident all day long, but if your body collapses under confrontation, if your voice tightens when you speak truth, if your actions hesitate at decisive moments, then your identity is not confident. And reality listens to that. Now, this is very important because congruence is not about reinventing yourself. It is about stopping the internal contradiction. Most people are not blocked by lack of potential, they are blocked by energy leaks. Every time you say yes when you mean no, every time you explain instead of state, every time you delay what you have already decided, you fragment yourself, and fragmentation creates noise. Reality is very efficient. It responds to clarity. When you are incongruent, your signals are mixed. You say you want growth, but behave like safety is the priority. You say you value truth, but avoid discomfort. You say you want expansion, but cling to familiarity. Reality doesn't judge this, it simply reflects it. So, what is in fact the cost of incongruency? Well, living incongruently is exhausting because you're constantly compensating, managing impressions, managing expectations, managing internal conflict. You feel very busy, but you are not very effective. You feel in motion, but you're not grounded. And over time, you start to mistrust yourself. Not consciously, but on a very subtle level. And self-trust is the foundation of aligned identity. So here's how identity is actually formed. Identity is not chosen, it is conditioned. Formed through repetition. So what you repeatedly tolerate, what you repeatedly avoid, what you repeatedly prioritize under stress, that becomes who you are. So alignment doesn't start with imagination, it starts with observation. And this is the role of self-honesty. Congruence requires radical self-honesty. Not self-judgment, not self-criticism, but precision. Seeing yourself as you are, not as you prefer to be seen. This is where most people actually opt out because self-honesty threatens identity stories. The stories that you have been telling yourself to protect your identity. And here's a very hard truth. Incongruency often serves something. It keeps relationships stable, it keeps conflict low, it keeps expectations manageable. Alignment would require real change, boundaries, discomfort, loss. So people, they stay split, not because they're weak, but because the cost of congruence feels unknown. And here is the real responsibility that comes with it. When you align your identity, you lose plausible deniability. You can no longer say, well, I didn't know, I didn't mean to, I had no choice. Congruency makes responsibility unavoidable. And responsibility is therefore heavy, but it is also freeing. So how do you start aligning with your identity? Well, like I said, it's not with visualization, it's not with declarations, but with micro alignment. Small moments where you stop betraying yourself, saying no once, speaking slower, pausing before agreeing, acting when you said that you would. Identity shifts through proof, not promise. So real congruency feels quiet. This surprises maybe a lot of people, but congruency doesn't feel euphoric. It feels calm. It feels neutral, clean, uncluttered. Less internal dialogue, less justification, more simplicity. That's how you know it's real. So why does congruency attract opportunity? Well, aligned people, they're very predictable, not boring reliable, but reality that just trusts reliability. So do people, so do systems. Opportunities flow towards those who don't contradict themselves. And so here's the final question. And it's the real question that we've been waiting for, because where are you still out of alignment? Not because you don't feel better, but because it's familiar. And what would change if you stopped abandoning yourself in small ways? Because identity alignment is not dramatic. It is disciplined and it's quiet and it's very powerful. Well, my name is JT, and if this video made you reflect, well, good. That was the entire point of it. Reflection is where alignment begins. If this resonated, write congruent down in the comments. And if you're ready to stop leaking energy and start living in internal coherence, well, visit my website, jtscenterstripecoaching.eu. That is jtscenterstripecoaching.eu. Thank you for being here. Slow down, let things land, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye. Have a nice day.